What is going on, everybody? It is Jay Wilson, and it's Monday, 6 p.m., doing our thing, having a good time, and I'm curious to know how you're doing. I'd love to know how things are going in your neck of the woods. And if you don't mind, tell me where you're from. I'd really enjoy that. But one of the big things today is we're going to be talking about new aquarium planning the aquarium, and I'm coming to you folks to help me do that. And what I mean by that is we're going to go over some details, so to speak. I'm going to give you measurements, and I want you to help me make sure that I'm not missing anything so that when I sit down with the builder, I have everything ready to go. But hello to everyone. I hope your weekend was amazing. And yeah, let's jump right into it. So do me a favor, share this video. I greatly appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. And that's exactly what we want from this, is for the channel to grow, to reach more people, and to ultimately impact more lives in a positive manner. But remember, if you're a first-time watcher, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. All right, so we got folks from France. We've got folks from, well, not folks, but Wendy from Oklahoma. And we're going to jump right into this bad boy. So every reiteration of an aquarium room or room, I'm always trying to plan. When we moved into this specific home, it was, I don't know what the word is, but I guess we can say it was rushed. So there really wasn't a way to set up aquariums or to have a specific set of aquariums laid out in this room. You walk into this room, there's an aquarium to your right, there's an aquarium to your left, and there's an aquarium straight ahead. That was converted. We've got some desktop aquariums, saltwater aquarium. We've got the vivariums in one room with some of the beta tanks and desktop stuff. And then we've got the turtle tank. So it's just all over the place, and it doesn't make for a good flow of a home. Now, the aquariums are well kept, but ultimately having most of your aquariums, if not all, in a centralized location plays a huge role into, I don't know, ease of maintenance, convenience, feeding, things of that nature. So this will be one dedicated fish room when we move in July or August. And yeah, I've got the blueprints right here that I'll be able to show you, but this is in essence exactly where all the aquariums will go. And I'll kind of give you an idea of what I've been thinking. And then we go from there. We talk about details. We want to make sure that I'm not overlooking anything. And then there's no and then. That's it. We start the big plan of putting the aquariums in and who goes what and what goes where. So again, thank you very much for taking the time out on a Monday to come help me. I greatly appreciate it. But if you want to see some more cool stuff, check out the members only. Yeah, the members only is kind of cool. There's going to be a lot of travel vlogs, uncut raw videos that go up. It is what it is. And it's super cool. So, does anybody have a dedicated fish room? And that's what I want to know. Like, what was the number one thing of this fish room that you said, I'm going to do this specific thing on my next go round? So it was a very, very specific thing that you wish you could have done. And maybe it gives me the opportunity not to make that mistake, because that's what this is all about. Flowerhorn Stream said, scratch that. It's a dart frog room. No. There will be dart frogs potentially in that room, but the idea is I want to keep the Paludarium potentially near me because it'll have a huge aquarium on the bottom and then the rainforest on top. So I will go over this hot rod. So you've got, it is a third car garage. it's connected by a portico, so to speak, or an overhang. And this is the door that enters that said garage. So we've got the garage door, and we're not going to take the garage door away because let's say 10 years from now, 15 years from now, we don't want it to be a fish room anymore, because we have the ability to build a room back here as well. Not a room, but a building back here. But the idea is this will become the fish room. Everything else inside the home will be bedrooms. And this way we're not taking up, valuable living space, because I'm working from home now. And I'd really like to, enjoy the home and not bump into aquariums everywhere we go. So the first thing SM, the fish guy, said is insulated well. So when we sit down with the builder, that's going to be one of the key things, is making sure that we can insulate all of the walls even better than what they would typically be done as a garage. So that's a number one thing. And then as far as the garage door is insulated, but we're going to have an insulating piece from the inside. So this way it can be converted right back to a garage instantly. Make recommendations, get a laser distance measuring device, and build a room in CAD. I would love to, but I don't have CAD. And ideally, all the aquariums are going to be, of course, different sizes. But if somebody knows CAD, I can give you those sizes. This interior dimension of the garage is 24 feet long. And then wide, you're going to have 13.4 feet left to right interior dimension. So it's fairly large in terms of what it is, and it's got a 9-foot ceiling. So from what I know, there is a electrical panel right inside here. So I know folks were saying, will you heat the room or use heaters, dedicated circuits to lights versus other equipment, or still, have central heating. So I don't know if the cost is going to exceed the central heating piece going all the way to the third garage. So the thought I have is, if it's insulated very well, I insulate the bottom. The floors are going to be done so that it's not concrete, that I could use a space heater when I'm in there. Typically, it doesn't get super cold here. So what I mean by that is not negative 20 something where folks are going crazy. But the idea for me is to have that backup when it does dip, into the potential teens or, 20s, which is typically what it gets. So right now I've got outlets specifically placed. Now on that 24-foot wall, left and right, what do you think in terms of how many outlets I should have? There will be a GFCI or whatever. I know folks want to go, I'm not rich, but I won't be heating the floors. And a space heater is not going to produce fumes because I'm looking at a ceramic space heater with an auto cutoff. GFCI circuit is also serving all of your outdoor outlets. You plug in a leaf blower in the backyard and your garage circuit can trip that breaker. So that's a good idea to keep it maybe in its own special deal. So outlets, GFCI. Now, we had thought about putting a window, and I don't know if I necessarily want a window because I would rather have that more space on the right and left side of the garage because I'm entering here. So my thought is right up here would be maybe a utility sink. But if I can't get water in there, there'll be a spigot because it is well, so it's dedicated water for myself. Josh has a GFCI on every circuit and is dedicated. So let me see if I can get it dedicated. I'm going to write that here. I don't know if that'll be the case. So the garage door is going to have windows in it, so it'll let in light, and so will that door that's there. But I don't really want to put in a window there. Humidity wise, I will have a dehumidifier specifically in that. Window would complicate filming. Yes, it could. Now this is going to be an aquarium room, not necessarily where I do all my lives. but there will be times where we do go live from there. So dedicated circuit, if that's possible. I've already got the dehumidifier. It'll do that room perfectly fine. A lot of the aquariums are going to be converted to have tops, so we're not necessarily going to have to worry so much about that evaporation as I am right now. Let's see. Do you use Aquarium TFS very often right down the road from you? She's great. Leanne's awesome. She's got a lot of great fish. I don't typically use a lot of aquarium stores, but if I need to, I can. I use TFS to get some Congo tetras, which was great. Okay, to the line side, got it. So thank you very much, T-Bones Fishes, for the super chat. Let's see. There's a lot of stuff. Ductless mini split, wonderful things. I have no idea what that is. Bum 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 bum. Garages out have one GFI circuit and they can be catastrophic. Okay, so I'm going to talk to them about that. The other thing is we're going to have a whole home generator as well, which will power this in the event that something should go awry. I would add circuits directly and separately from the original housing wiring. So that's one thing that I wrote down to see if that's possible. We've got plumbing to see if it's possible. I'm not necessarily worried about the plumbing, so to speak, in there, just in case there is, a major cost running more lines. But there's always going to be a spigot somewhere close, and I can store water inside one of the front areas that I can wall off or just leave open with, treated water, things like that. So Josh said best investment he made, and I don't see, I'm assuming he means the GFCI on every circuit and dedicated. If you are going live from your phone, consider a solid Wi-Fi access point. Yeah, so Wi-Fi, I'm already upgrading for the house. I have a really good Wi-Fi system here. I'll have a gig internet, so my upload speeds are going to be around 500-600, and my download speeds will be somewhere around 300-400. I'm not worried about that. I was more worried about things that I might forget, like how many outlets I should put on each wall. That's the whole thing that I guess I'm missing. If I've got 24 feet of full wall on one side and I've got a standard door with about a foot here, so 4 feet, and I got 20 feet of wall space and then 13.4 feet of wall space. So how many outlets do you think? As far as aquariums, I don't know. Everything that's here is going to go in there. A lot of the smaller stuff will be condensed. Somebody asked, what kind of router do I use? So the router that I use currently is the one from AT&T. I shut it off as far as Wi-Fi goes, and then I use Nest. It was a Google Nest, the mesh network, and it seems to work really well, although I'm getting crowded with all the Wi-Fi stuff. So I am going to be going to a much better router mesh network system. I'm still doing some research on it. Priscilla, what's going on? So we've got Cunningham said I should do 4 outlets every 6 feet. So 4 outlets every 6 feet. Josh, I'm not having 90 aquariums. Never load any circuit more than 75% of its rating. Okay. So no more than 75% of its rating. Got it. 4 times 6 feet. And we will see. Ubiquity is a good company, but a little bit more on the professional side and quite higher in terms of price when you want to get rocking. I'm probably going to use one of those typical, not like Google, but a little bit higher echelon in terms of mesh. So the house is, I want to say, just shy of 3,000 square feet, and then a 2-car garage attached, and then a 3rd car garage non-attached. So very excited about that. My idea is, Josh said 4 times 6 feet. I was probably going to reduce that to 2 times 6 feet, but I do like Josh's 4. A lot of this comes into money play. Now, I'm not going to pack this with, I'm not going to pack this with aquariums, right? That's not the idea. Folks I haven't seen in a while jumping on, I greatly appreciate it. The idea is I want to keep a very specific size aquarium, and I'm looking at what that cost would be. But all these aquariums would go in, and I may be switching some stuff around, but everybody will have lids. They may not all have canopies, but the idea is I want to be able to keep what I can keep and make sure that it's super easy to do all of the maintenance and get it rocking. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these things that I do, I don't want to completely convert this to just a fish room where it has all these special things, and then somebody comes in, wants to use it as a garage or wants to convert it to an in-law suite, and then I'm SOL 6, 7, 8, 10, 15 years from now in terms of being able to sell it. And I'm not hooking 50 tanks up like Josh said. It's the bigger aquariums that I'm looking for. I'm not looking to do the smaller aquariums, 100 plus gallons each. And, we've got to now maybe 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, maybe 6, 8 max. So that's kind of where my head is. The vivariums potentially could be kept in there, things of that nature. You can wire hundreds of outlets as long as you never exceed the amperage of that circuit. Cool. That's what I'm talking about. So I don't know these things. Jay, I used moisture-resistant bathroom drywall in my first fish room. Depends on the aquarium lids, etc. But I'm sure it helped with moisture and room humidity. So I agree. With having a dehumidifier and a heating source, I think I'm in the clear with a lot of this stuff because everything's basically going to be sealed off in terms of not having open top aquariums. However, if I could get moisture resistant stuff, I will look at that. A lot of this plays into that piece of cost, right? I want to be able to do the things that I probably won't be able to do ahead of time. So if I can get them to do more of that insulation, add those outlets, get the plumbing done, then I can potentially step back and say, okay, I can add some on the lower parts. Nobody's going to see it. I'm not going to see it. It's behind aquariums. I've got more insulation. I've got insulation underneath the aquarium, in the stands, potentially behind the backgrounds, because I don't ever have see-through aquariums except this one because I haven't decided what I wanted to do. So a lot of this stuff, the heat will be good. And in the summertime, the only thing I'm concerned about is baking this sucker. So I have to figure out some fans potentially and seeing how it goes. Now, I've kept aquariums in garages that were never converted and didn't have a massive issue here in Oklahoma. But I also got to keep in mind that they're larger aquariums is what I want to do. And I want to make sure that it looks nice. I don't want it to be crappy all over the place, right? I don't want to have a billion different things going on and, it just kind of looks like I walked in and slapped aquariums around. So Billy Parker has something that is an idea that I thought about is having a central drain just in case. Now, that's something that I have ready and willing to know how much that's going to cost. But removing water can be very easy because to the right side of this with a hose, I can drain straight to ultimately, it just runs into the backyard. It's a runoff, so to speak. And this water will have no chemicals in it. And I'll be able to either run it to the garden, I can run it to the back area, or just drop a hose, easy connect right into this said runoff area. So somebody asked, is it a showroom basically? Not necessarily just a showroom. It's for me. I want it to be presentable. I want to go live. I just don't like anything that is is not aesthetically pleasing for me. I don't want to walk into a place and feel crowded, right? If I had a 36-inch deep aquarium here and I had a 12-inch aquarium deep here, it just starts to look really funky. And with it being a long room, not opposed to wide, I want to make sure that I'm not crowding that space. We will have split AC units, but we're not sure if we're going to vent that third car garage. If you're heating the room instead of using heaters and the lights are reasonable, the load should be okay. Yeah, I'm going to be heating the room with an electrical heater more than likely, because the cost to run it across that thing may just exceed what I'm looking to spend. I'm not looking to pump $10,000 into this room, if that makes sense. If what they're doing I can add on and do a couple of changes that maybe cost me a couple $1,000, then I'm okay with that. But if this is going to exceed that and start rolling over, there are just some things that I'm going to have to learn to do later on and on my own. So Foreo is really giving me a lot of insight on the power. That is the major idea, because it's not good. I need to have that good power, and I don't want to overload any system. Priscilla says she's about to add a humidifier to her first room because of evaporation. Current humidity is 24%. Yeah, that's really, in my house right now, I think it was 54% the last time I looked. So I have no problem creating humidity. And it's not super dry here all the time. And in that specific room with only, a garage door and a door, boom. Okay, so I've got dedicated power if possible, plumbing to include a drain, hot and cold water, and wow, that's awesome. So send me your dimension picture of the panel and I will design you a schematic. Sweet. Have you thought about solar panels to store electricity to avoid power outages? I'm going to do a backup generator. We're natural gas, so I'll probably have a backup generator that has natural gas rocking, and we'll go from there. With solar panels here, it's a little bit difficult because we have hail. And the amount of storage to power for, a couple of days may be just such a massive system. I don't know yet. That's something that I've got to talk to, the folks that would be putting in the generator. Is it better to have a solar driven one or natural gas? Panel meeting your breaker box and where it is located. I will, once I get that for you, I'll be able to send that to you. Just wanted to say thanks for being a Northfin hookup. You treated me right and wanted to show that respect. You're welcome, Kevin. I greatly appreciate that. So that's where I'm at. Now, the big thing is now sourcing aquariums. Planning this room is going to be ideal. And I don't want to not overthink it, but I also don't want to put in too much where I don't use a lot of this stuff and have wasted money. So that's a big thing for me. Shiba dog raising an arm to greet someone asking, how's it going? Thank you, Tiffany, yet again with a super chat. Appreciate that. So natural gas is probably the way I'll go, just because it is very inexpensive and we have a plethora of it here in Oklahoma. Most of the house will be run off of natural gas, with electric being some other parts. But yeah, I'm super excited, but I'm also nervous at the same time, because if I can't get a lot of this stuff done, it's going to dictate how I operate this room. And I don't know a lot of folks that do this work on the side that can help later on. Linear air pump with loop. No, I'll be using my own stuff. I will not be using any air pumps to run these aquariums. They will be run off of low wattage canister filters and or return pumps. Speaking of backup generators, are you super happy that you're not in Texas anymore after the storms? I'm in Houston, and yes, you lost so many fish. I'm sorry, the Zen Ginger. We experienced some really big colds, and a lot of folks lost power here, had some issues. But when it comes down to it, I'm not glad that I'm out of Texas just for that. I'm glad I'm out of Texas because I'm closer to my son. But more importantly, Texas got a lot that they can learn from a lot of other states. The big thing was there was just a lot of things that weren't done to prep. Everybody looked at that storm as not going to be a big deal, and the ones that did take it seriously were okay. We didn't have any pipes that froze. We were negative 20 something degrees at one time. Our power flickered a couple times, but we lowered everything. We paid attention, and we had a plan ready to rock and roll in the event something catastrophic should happen. And a lot of folks didn't. They just said, it's not going to happen to me because it hasn't happened to me. And I don't want to ever think that way ever. I always want to, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So 7 kilowatts, meaning a gas run generator to reduce costs. That's a great idea. Just having a 7 kilowatt with a transfer switch. I don't know how much that is, but I would like to power the whole home in the event that there are power outages. Oklahoma does have some issues with power through a lot of straight line winds, tornado season, hail, big storms. We are a little bit further north than where we're at right now. We will be on just short of an acre of land. And so, there's a lot of things that are playing a huge role. As I told Cunningham, no power, water, heat for 3 days, 25 tanks, no death. Maybe that was luck. No, it probably was everything that you prepared for, to be honest with you. So kudos to you for not losing anything. But the Zen Ginger, I'm very sorry you lost that many fish. So with an aquarium room at 24 feet deep, 13 and a half feet left to right, more or less, and a door that sits front on the left side as you're looking in. Standard door with about 12 inches, which we're assuming there's going to be a panel there. I won't know a lot of this until I sit down with the builder. So that is the idea, is once I sit down, I can get an idea more of electricity and then moving forward with that. I have 22 fish tanks. It's the longest we've ever lost power. It's been in the 40s in my house. So I was wholly unprepared. I am now, though. That's good. It's not good you went through it, but it's good that you did have to go through it to prepare yourself in the event it should happen again, because it's better to be prepared and nothing happen than to not be prepared and it actually happening. But the main focus of this is legitimately just preparing this room. And, folks can go, well, it's not till, July or August. That may be the case, but the idea is I want to be prepared so that the move-in is seamless for those aquariums. I'm probably going to condense these Tropheus. I've just been in contact with a company that does lids. I'm going to get lids on this. I've lost 2 Tropheus in the last 4 days in terms of jumping because they're starting to get nasty and I need to condense them to a smaller aquarium. And then I'll probably move the Congos over to this aquarium when we move it and just get the whole Buffalo cichlids, Congo tetras rocking in here and move the Tropheus to this tank. And then I'm going to look for a supplier of tanks that could potentially get me what I'm looking for in terms of specs and then go from there. So the 4 times, this is what I have so far. Let's kind of recap a little bit so that we're not missing anything. We really want to focus in on electricity and understanding how much we can put onto that specific system and not overload any other system and hopefully get it separate. We also want some plumbing, potentially a drain at the center, which would be great, or that utility sink that'll sit forward for me. I definitely want to get some tubs to have water on the ready in the event the well needs to be repumped, things of that nature. So we always want water on the ready. As far as heating goes, I am going to be using a space heater because it's a smaller area and a dehumidifier. So I will not be putting these systems in because I'm not breeding. I'm not doing anything that is going to be that massive like a Cunningham cichlids or somebody putting in 90 plus aquariums for breeding and making this a business. So I would like to know, has anybody insulated a garage door behind just insulating the garage door? Did you put anything inside of it that you can easily take off in the event you sell the home? The idea for me is yeah, I can convert this to a complete bedroom and then not put in the garage door and then really seal it in. But I do want some natural light, for the most part in there. And if something should happen and I need to pull a vehicle in there or pull something in there, I can pull it through the center. I would definitely want to be able to do that. I would not plug anything into your garage GFCI. Create a separate GFCI system like Cunningham said. So separate GFCI system inside that third garage. Okay. Now I am taking this seriously. Now keep in mind though, if I don't implement this, it was only because the cost was too much at the time. I used to think that pink foam insulation on the garage door. Yeah. So there's a lot of different things that I believe you can do for that garage door. And I was just kind of getting an idea of where you folks were rocking with that. Tazawa Tanks lives in California, and it definitely does not get cold in California like it would here. If you wanted natural light, add windows instead of a garage door. Well, I want to keep that garage door. I was putting windows in the garage door at the top just because I want to keep that as a third car garage. That's a selling point for a home, right? So I don't want that to be an issue. False wall made from styrofoam in front of your door. There we go. So that's all I need. I can do that easily and block it out, and nobody would ever see it. So when I walk in, it's covered by, whatever. So that's what I'll do there. GFCIs have a problem. Nuances, strip and thick hairdryer in the bathroom. Oh, no. I completely know that. I know that like nobody's business. In my last house in Texas, it would trip all the time. So let's see. I'm happy and excited for you. The whole journey sounds awesome. Will you be able to vlog it so we can see? Yeah, I will. It's, a lot of this stuff when you're doing it, it's hard to just vlog, edit, put it out. So if you're a member, you're going to see a lot of that unedited stuff. Other stuff will go via YouTube and stories and posts and things like that. But, definitely we will be documenting the journey because we all can learn from it. Frame out the garage door and build a wall so that you can take it down if you need to. There we go. These are ideas that I want in my head. So electricity, GFCI system, completely separate for third car garage, drain, etc. Plumbing, hot, cold water. Definitely want some, totes to store water. And then, outside of that, it's finding these aquariums, right? One GFCI is $20, but if you wire load said you can add many outlets that are not GFCI. You folks will end up losing me at some point with electricity. One GFCI is $20. But if you wire load said you can add many outlets that are not GFCI, but still GFCI protected. Got it. So it just comes down to them helping me. This builder has been fantastic so far with questions. I asked for schematics of the garage, and within 2 hours, I had when I say schematics, the blueprints, none of the electricity. This is just, it's perfect for me. It's just a great thing to have in terms of this builder not doing a ton of homes, having a great background, and I love it. Will this rival the king of DIY fish room? I'm not even thinking that. Joey is Joey. Joey's going to do things the way Joey does, and on a scale that Joey does, I'm going to do things the way Jay does things. And that's just the way it's going to be. The big key for me is trying to procure aquariums that are not junk, that look okay, and that I can produce maybe 4 or 6 of these and bang. The fish box just said something that absolutely is rocking. Pad a curtain and just the curtain rail above the garage door. I saw these. It was really cool and got me excited that it would be a little bit easier to insulate this room. So I greatly appreciate that. I do have Ninja Turtles. Sold a lot of them in effort for this home, and will sell as many as I need to in terms to fund a lot of this stuff. So the idea is cracking down, building enough money padding to have for this home, not just the aquarium room. Let's see. Jay, what is GFCI? I don't know what it is. So I think T-Bone Fishes is in Australia. So Forio, hit them with it. I know here in Florida, hardly anyone uses a garage as a garage is what I'm assuming. But we do, because there's hail. So a lot of folks will use their garage. And, the idea was finding a home that can have two. So these were the things that most people don't have to think about, but we did. We had to have 2 offices because I work from home. Wendy works from home. We had to have a dedicated room for Liam, our master bedroom. You see this? And then we do want a room for guests, right? It's that flex room. And it's very difficult to find a home like that isn't, $1 trillion that fits those pieces that still feels open. And we found that. This room has a flex dining room, a front room, which is considered an office. So there's your 2 offices. And then it has 3 other bedrooms, master, 2, 3. So it was perfect for us to be able to do that with the 3rd garage. This neighborhood allows us to build a shop building later. So there is always the ability to go with a shop a little bit further. And that's a big thing, because if I need to convert that garage back, I can always move this stuff to an internal room of another building. Let's see. King and Queen cichlids. What? Are they in here? Oh, Scott. King and Queen cichlids. What's up, man? I'm getting ready to build a pond this month, and electricity will be a little bit of an issue because in the front of the house, there's no electricity outlets. So I know how people feel. Yeah, I mean, if I want to add an indoor pond to this place, which is possible, I want to make sure I have the right load of electricity. But see, here's the thing. The key thing for me is I don't want to put too many things into this room where it causes me not to like the too many things in this room. So I have to get to a point where I understand the idea of I want it to be easy. I don't want it to be difficult. I want to be able to walk into that room and then bang, be able to do 3 or 4 water changes relatively quickly, fill them back up, and get back to what it is I enjoy doing. So Billy Parker asked if we will be able to see a pond outside in the new place. I don't know. It may be inside. It all comes down to time, right? There's a lot of space in the backyard. We're very excited. First thing is I got to fence it in because of the dog. And then the second is I want to be able to map out where I can put things. If I was going to say something right now, the pond will probably happen indoors and be manufactured by Universal Rocks. So it's a lot. There's a lot going through my head. We still have to pick out the things inside the house. So the reason why I wanted to do this video today was not just to draw excitement to it, but was to give me ideas to bring to the table when we sit down with the builder and they say X, Y, Z, and I say dedication, drain, water, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they say, this much money is this much money is this much money. It's crazy. Cali Kev, enjoy your evening. So that's big for me. And I greatly appreciate you folks coming in and helping me kind of think about these things. There are so many people that go, I could do it all by myself. I cannot do it all by myself. And that's why I do look to you folks to think of these things. Even if I don't use that idea, know that your idea led me to some other solution. Or maybe it just led me to believe this is really difficult and I'm not going to do X, Y, and Z. A pond tub this summer is going in to use an air line from an air pump in my kitchen all the way to the tub, so no electricity outside. Holy cow. That's crazy. But yeah, there's, what is the big projects that you're working on? I really want to hear them. This is, that's a big thing, is understanding that, that is a lot of work that's going into just this garage. But what's your big project? Also, do me a favor, share this video, like it, share it, because the more folks I can get commenting after to help me is going to be beneficial. I'm going to keep going back to this video to help me gain more knowledge and insight. So, automated water changes, plumbing above tanks with valves, have a good drain plan too. I don't know if I want to do automated water changes. That means I got to drill these tanks a specific way. And while that sounds great, I'm not a person that wants to have something so specific. The Ultra Zero is so easy. I can drop, and fill with a well. I don't have to worry about, all these different things. And I don't know. It's great that, that idea is in place. Plumbing above the tanks. I just don't want all of that. I'm a traditional fish keeper. I don't want to convert to PVC everywhere and turning on. Maybe filling the tanks would be great, but I can easily fill the tanks the way I'm doing it. And as Kenji said, I got one tank. That's less headaches. It is. It's very much so less headaches. I'm thinking it's going to be, whoo. So Josh Cunningham's got quite a few tanks going into the crib. Look at this. Boom. Another 4 165s going in. Josh Cunningham. I love it, man. My big project is downsizing to 7 to 8 large tanks instead of 30. I don't, eight is like the max. What I don't want to happen is like, ooh, I got a 30 gallon over here. Ooh, I got a 65 gallon over here. Ooh, I'm going to be breeding some speclorochromis, make me a lot of money over here in this 55. I don't need grow outs for grow outs. That's not what this is. The idea for me is I want to have tanks of specific things that I want to keep. The Congo tanks stay. The Moragos are staying if they don't murder each other before then. Having Habs and Peacocks back. Having potentially Petrochromis. Maybe that 13-foot wall is just an 8-foot aquarium that has Petrochromis in it. I don't know yet. The idea is I need to find out how much electricity I can put in and then rock and roll, right? There's just a lot of things that go through my head and nobody ever wants to be in my head. I have a 10, 2 5s, and a 47. Yeah. The tiny tanks are cute, but it's just like, come on, man. Like, I can tell you I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's like 10-ish small tanks in here. Ugh. The nano tank craze. I know it came with coronavirus, but no, I want bigger tanks. I know how much wattage each tank is going to have. And ultimately, yeah, maybe a Forio. If you can email me, here, I'll type it in because it makes it easier. It's askaway@gmail.com. Do me a favor. If you can email me, we can chat because I can tell you exactly if I had 8 aquariums in there, how much wattage would be working. And then you can kind of tell me where I'm going if that helps. After not having enough power outlets and extension cords to run during the storm, we're looking into linear air pumps and going all sponge filters. I can't do it. For breeders and things like that, you could do it. I just don't like sponge filters looks. I don't like the sound, and I don't want it. I have the ability to do all internal filters if I wanted to. That's great, and I can do that with some maybe 100-gallon aquariums instead of doing canister filters. But no, nobody ever thinks of how many whales I can run on the circuit. I am. And maybe it's not just whales. I will use internal sharks. I will potentially have a sump on an aquarium. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. A lot. And, I just want to make sure that I have everything in place. So does anybody have any crazy things that they're getting ready to do with aquariums? Crazy. Hit me with the crazies. I just did a video on dart frog care. I know some folks had asked many, many times about dart frog care. I just did the video. You can check that out. It would be awesome if you did. And, maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you'll get excited. The sound of an air pump bugs me. I like canisters. I agree. It's like, I feel like I've got an A10 plane coming in, right? And it's like, it just doesn't scream relaxing to me. I want to be able to walk into this room, see all the aquariums, and maybe there is a chair in there. I don't know. Maybe there is a bench that I can sit down and relax, or maybe I just sit in there to decompress. Maybe it's a place Liam goes and helps and learns, and maybe he can bring some toys in there to play, or it's a place Wendy will go to get away from whatever it is she's trying to get away from. That's the idea. Josh Cunningham says you get used to it. It's music to your ears. No, it's not. If I wanted to listen to an elephant fart constantly, then yes. I don't want to listen to an elephant fart. It's bad enough in my saltwater tank. I've got a turbo snail that thinks he's slick, and he puts himself up behind the wave pump, and it's like, or a, it's annoying. I have to flick him off that area. I don't know if he's looking for a massage or what, but it's ridiculous. Runaways to the garage. Yeah, that's the idea. The idea is I want to be able to walk into that room and be like, now this is it. Instead of walking in and going, it's crazy down here. That's the idea. That's the big idea. So I don't know. T-Bone's Fish says he's got a 10, 20, 33 and a half gallon, and next tank 47 and a half or 180 gallon liter tank. Yeah, I mean, these 10-gallon tanks, these little 7-gallon bangers, they got a 2.5 gallon. It's really nice. You betta, guys. The farmers, the breeders, touche. The pond will have mostly fancy goldfish. That's a poop-loving fish. It is nice to sit and watch the fish. Now, this is no joke. I will sit here and watch these fish. I watch them all come right here. See it? They just, boop, right there. I move it over here, boop. They want to come over there and do it too. I want to be able to do that in this garage, anywhere. I want to be able to just say, bang, this is perfect. But nothing's really ever perfect. You were a beta guy for like a hot minute. No, I was a beta guy before I had to become a beta guy. And when I was living in an apartment, I had to embrace the beta guy because that's really all I had room for. Now I'm back to my roots, and my roots is on fire. Where is my friend the cowboy? What? Hey Jay, why doesn't the Krill Pro from Northfin look like krill and look like pellets? Wait, what? I have no idea. What just happened? Forio, Jay, I built my fish room by rewatching your walkthrough at Cunningham's. You're a veteran, adapt and overcome. No, I've never mistaken my petition for advice for not being able to adapt and overcome. You're dang sure. You better know that I will adapt and overcome. Oh, Cowboy, my son. He's with me the first, third, and fifth weekend, and Thursdays, all the other Thursdays for a few hours, according to my ex, no more and no less. Weird. She says she's bounded by obligation. So funny. But yes, I will adapt. I will overcome any adversity that I face within this room, so to speak. And I'm not complaining by any means. I'm very grateful to have this opportunity. Now comes the dirty work, and the dirty work is making sure I can do it. And the other dirty work is making sure I can find the right aquariums for this room. Maybe that's Planet Aquarium. Maybe that's custom aquariums. Maybe that's somebody I know locally here that can help. Favorite predator hat? Probably the Niger Venter. Still. Regina Phalanges. Regina, is that your real last name? Question mark. Why did I just say question mark like I'm talking to Siri? Unfortunately, in a place I'm living, I can't have any big tanks, so I keep multiple smaller tanks. They never said how many, just the size. Yes, I agree. And that's what I was doing. And that's a big thing. So Aquatic Obsessions has proposed this question. What do I think of wild caught fish? It's a loaded question. And if I'm going to answer it, honestly, I think it's okay. Responsibly, because wild fish in certain areas, well, a lot of areas, help drive an economy in that area. However, that wild fish, we got to make sure that it's not on that list, that endangered list, and we're not just sucking it dry of its natural population and natural habitat. We got to give it time to replenish and stabilize its numbers. But I think wild caught fish are okay. But I think we need true data. Also, an opinion of mine is we like to go, that fish is extinct. Now I'm generalizing, right? That fish is extinct. 50 years from then, stable population of said fish has been found under a bridge just northeast of its original location. What? How did we know it was extinct? Do you actually know what the definition of extinct is? The other thing is new species found after 150 years of it believing that it was extinct. So then it never was extinct. This world is vast. We can't suck it of its resources and livestock, so to speak, but we can utilize that livestock to continue to breed and to help, but we have to do it in a sustainable way, a professional way, an ethical way, and we have to do it with the intent of allowing that species of whatever it is to maintain its original origins. But isn't wild caught the way it was, let's say 25 years ago, and how we got our fish from aquariums before all the breeders popped up? Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not at all. I'm saying that we should do that. You should watch Mission Blue on Netflix. See, that's the tough part with these things. Like, somebody goes out and they're like, 25 years ago, I was in the same exact location and the water level has dropped 1.37 multi-millimeters. And we're like, whoa! But the fluctuations of Earth, and then they go, I can't believe I have not seen this fish in 23 years. But now we have found the fish again. What do you mean you haven't seen the fish in 25 plus years? Were you there every day looking for that fish? Maybe that fish decided to adapt to the nets and catching of said fish. Now I'm making these things up, but this is what goes through my mind. And then they run a documentary of how things are being ruined or things are getting better. It's always polar opposites. And I don't know. I have a tough time just absorbing all of that information and going, wild caught fish are bad, Mkai, because it's not that way. It is okay to have wild caught fish. It is. For $90 a pop on wild caught plus shipping is definitely a gamble on survivability and adaptability. No, I agree with you. that is like kaboom. Kaboom. Who wants to go fish collecting in Myanmar? I Don't know if I want to go back to Myanmar or Burma, also known as. Do I feel bad for them that they are being taken out of their home? When you look at it that way, I guess the answer could be, yeah, there is some empathy, so to speak, for removing a wild species from its environment. But also, we're watching this YouTube video about fish and planning a fish room. So do we feel bad that we're constantly breeding massive amounts of fish into small glass boxes? This is one of those weird conversations that nobody wants to have. And two, nobody will ever give you an answer you're looking for, so to speak. Because I guess I don't think of that when the fish comes wild, because I know here that I'm going to do my best to provide them an environment because I want to keep that said fish, and in hopes potentially raise that said fish to have babies if that's what I'm going after. Some of these fish need to be pulled from the wild so that we can have sustainability for the fish keeping hobby. There's a lot to think about. Well, it's taken from its home and made a pet, or taken from a home and made dinner. There you go. There's another side of it. You know, a fish that we may want to keep is a fish that's being pulled to eat. There's so much. There is so much that, you know, this is all opinions. This is all the way we perceive things. They're great conversations to have. A lot of people don't like the truth that comes behind them, but they are definitely conversations that are very, very fun to have, because you get to understand somebody else. It's when you're like, nope, you're wrong. I don't like it. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're evil. I don't care. And then you get somebody else that's like, what are you talking about? I'm not evil. I give you my opinion and you just hated on my opinion. So there's so many different things that play into what it is we're talking about. That one fish has multiple different tentacles, so to speak, that touches so many different things, from economy to joy to food to revenue to a village's next move and how they rebuild, and to a small business connected to a larger business. There are so many different things that play into that fish. How many of those fish live a better quality of life and survive longer than they would in its natural habitat? It's true. I seem to have better luck with tank raised fish being hardier. Yeah, I mean, there are variables to that, right? There are definitely things that play a role into either pulling a wild caught fish in, or, you know, pulling a tank raised fish or a farm raised fish. You know, look at saltwater. There are some fish you cannot get raised in a farm or raised in a tank because you just cannot. And so the cost of that fish is just astronomically high. And then you have to hope that fish eats. There's just a lot. There are positive and negatives on both sides. That is the moot point to argue on either side. There's positives and negatives with everything. Sometimes people take said fish out of the water and take it home as a pet because of the population being very high. Yeah, it's true. Or many other things that transpire. And that's with anything. But the idea is, look at this. Planning an aquarium fish room. I am planning for a lot of things that could happen in this fish room, right? So when you're bringing a fish in, whatever fish it is, or whatever aquatic animal or inhabitant it is, you should have a plan on if you're bringing in enough to potentially breed. And if they're breeding, you should understand that plan should be in place to either cull, hard fact of the matter, if it's not to its actual, genus and it's got a deformity, if you're trying to keep the species the way it is. Now, you got to do what you got to do, and I'm never going to dictate what that is. But at the end of the day, culling is a necessary thing within an industry that is keeping species the way they are from said wild as a species, instead of morphing them or changing them with all these different hybrids. And the only thing that does is potentially cloud, disrupt or could hurt even smaller ecosystems or larger ecosystems. So when it comes down to it, planning is the key. Room plan. Plan for breeding. What are you going to do with those babies? Are you starting a business? Are you culling them? Are you using them for food? These are all things that you really need to think about when it comes to planning anything, pulling a fish from the wild or pulling a fish from your favorite place to purchase your fish. Now, mine is planning a fish room, and I don't know if it's going to work out exactly the way it is I want to, but I'm hoping that with your folks' help and folks' help after this, that we will get to that point where this fish room is shared by many, but most importantly, is shared by these eyes, this mind, and this heart, and those that are centered around me to enjoy it for as long as it is up. The fish we seek in the hobby is a small percentage of the variety in Malawi. The other species are sought for food. Absolutely. I agree. So there are lots to be debated about when it comes to wild caught fish, and maybe that is a topic that we talk about on a live video. If you've got recommendations, go ahead and spit them out in the comments. Share them with me on Instagram. You can do as is what you'd like to do, but please follow me on Instagram, become a member, get that raw content, share the living daylights out of this video, and thank you so much for all of the absolute information you provided on this live stream. It has helped me tremendously, and it will continue to help me until this room is done. I like the idea where some species people are breeding to release back to the wild, not widespread, but it's happening. It is. And John Wagner, have Wendy do some awesome plants in the new room. That will happen. Again, I greatly appreciate you taking the time coming out. And as always, do what it is you want to do as long as it is ethical and it is good for what it is you are doing, and that you are thinking about the future, because the future is tomorrow. The present is a gift that we experience right now. And the past, which is also known as history, can help us learn from any mistakes that we've made, not to be removed, not to be just completely whited out, but it is something that we can learn from to improve not only the present, but the future of us, our fish rooms, and the people that are going to grace this world. Thank you so much for watching. You know what's next. Holla!